You know, if I'm Microsoft, I'm definitely thinking about renaming Xbox to the Giving Tree. Because as an Xbox YouTuber, they keep giving me great video topics to talk about. And I am very, very thankful for that. And I know what you're saying to yourself, RGT, you wore that shirt yesterday in two separate videos. Why are you wearing it again today? And to that, I say the joke is on you, pal. I'm actually filming this Tuesday night. Wednesday and Thursday, my schedule is going to be all over the place. I have a wake and funeral session to be at as a pallbearer and all that sort of stuff for my great Aunt Marie. So leave a subscription if you're new here. Leave a like, leave a comment, help out that algorithm to help me feel a bit better about this situation. And rest in peace, great Aunt Marie. You will be missed. But we're here to talk about some Xbox stuff today because Sarah Bond, I mean, she's been doing some interviews lately. We just, of course, had the interview with Variety talking about the brand new Xbox handheld that's kind of an Xbox, the ROG Xbox Ally and the ROG Xbox Ally X. And to be fair with that system, I do have two friends of mine that have picked one up and they've never owned a ROG system before, so they're kind of unfamiliar with the handheld PC market, and they have been enjoying it. And like, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that there are people who are not familiar with other handheld PC products or other ROG systems that have come out in the past that will be enticed by this and will kind of appreciate it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it still is essentially a very PC experience with just a little bit of an Xbox interface on it, which is kind of to be expected. But Sarah's been doing the rounds talking about the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X. She did that interview with Variety, pretty much saying that, well, the reason it cost $1,000 dues was because it's an Asus product, pretty much, which is weird because it's an Xbox. I thought this is an Xbox. You know, everything is an Xbox. But now we have yet another interview that Sarah has decided to do with another publication, Mashable. Now, I don't really know anything about Mashable. I've heard about Variety before. I know they sometimes like interview celebrities and on like red carpets and just ask them completely out of pocket stuff that has nothing to do with what they're doing, which is very, very strange behavior to me. But I mean, they need that sound clip, so I get it. But Mashable, Variety, you know, these aren't exactly the places I look forward to when I need gaming news or gaming information. But hey, you know, Sarah is out there doing her thing. Now, she pretty much went on to Mashable to, of course, talk about the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X. You know, it just rolls right off the tongue. It's so easy to say. But Mashable actually asked a very interesting question about the system and how this will play into the next gen Xbox hardware, which of course has been rumored to be happening, or maybe it's delayed, this, that, or the other. So it's essentially going to be an Xbox branded PC that will have access to different storefronts and stuff like that. We don't really know the logistics of it, but looking at this new handheld system that they have, it kind of does point to that sort of direction. So Mashable basically asked Sarah Bond, you know, how is this going to interact? You know, is this some sort of in-between sort of thing? Can you comment on the next-gen Xbox rumors and the Xbox hardware? Is this kind of what we're seeing on the handheld system? To which Sarah Bond had to say the following. Well, I can tell you right that the next gen console is going to be a very premium, very high end, curated experience. Then, while gesturing to the ROG Xbox Ally X sitting between her and the Mashable's editor that was doing the interview, Sarah went on to say, "You're starting to see some of the thinking that we have in this handheld, but I don't want to give it all away." So, definitely two things as far as big clues as to Xbox's next generation console were definitely revealed here. Now let's talk about the more obvious one first and foremost. That Xbox, PC, Steam, GOG, all that sort of stuff, integration is more than likely going to be on the next generation Xbox console. I don't think that comes as a huge surprise to anyone. Obviously, this is how Xbox sees their future going. Whether you agree with it or whether you disagree with it, I mean, there are points to be made on both sides of the coin. Can Xbox really just do a PlayStation-style system and make their games and hope that their hardware sells? Yes, but it hasn't really been working, but I mean, then again, Xbox has also had trouble getting software out. Now that the software is actually coming out, they're acting more like a publisher, like a third-party publisher, more so than focused on their own system. Of course, you could always say, well, this is going to open the door and bridge the gap between PC and console gamers and console and PC gamers, but I'm not quite sure I'm completely sold on that. I feel like console gamers like consoles because it's a simple plug-and-play experience. Like, yeah, you gotta do some updates here and there, but you don't gotta tinker with settings and go into different storefronts and stuff like that. And then when you look at the PC side of gaming, they don't like consoles because they like the freedom. They like to be able to do whatever they want. And while you have this box that's obviously going to be kind of indicative of a console, but you lose the upgradability, which is what we're assuming with this that you get with a PC, it becomes less attractive. It's trying to be everything to everyone, but without a target audience, will there be an audience that finds this? So that's kind of the first part of it, which doesn't come as a big surprise. And really, the second part shouldn't come as a big surprise, but I would be scared. If you are an Xbox player, I would be scared out of my mind. And since I am an Xbox YouTuber and an Xbox player, I do not like this wording. Well, I can tell you right now that the next-gen console is going to be a very premium, very high-end, curated experience. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Red flags all over the place. Sound the sirens. Sound the alarms. God almighty. I don't even think we're talking about $1,000 console anymore, folks. I do not think we're talking about $1,000. I think we're looking at $1,200 plus with this thing. Very premium, very high-end, curated experience. This to me, and I'm not trying to be negative, okay? It's just very hard when I look at Xbox's decisions, some of them which I like, some of them which I don't like. It's very hard for me to look at this objectively and be like, oh, well, it's just going to be a nice system, but it's still going to be reasonably priced. Because I don't think it is. We've seen price increases on consoles right now across the board. No matter what console it is, there is some facet of the console that has gone up in price, whether it's the system itself, controllers, accessories, games, yada, yada, yada. But with this next generation of consoles, we're already worried about the potential prices of these because we know that these companies do like money and they want to get as much money out of people as they possibly can. And if people are willing to pony up the money, then they'll keep making the products at the cost that it costs them, and then, you know, have to deal with tariffs and have to deal with passing the buck on to you with this sort of situation. However, by saying very premium and very high-end curated experience, this almost sounds like, to me, you want to take whatever Xbox diehards you have left and then just milk their teat. Like, milk their teat dry, because this to me does not scream $1,000. It doesn't. If you would have said premium, you know, high end, curated, like, these are, it's almost like a bit of a word salad. Because, like, what does curated mean? Like, what are you curating? Like, have you seen some of the games that are on your platform and now you're opening it up to Steam and GOG and all that sort of stuff? Like, they're not sending their best when it comes to games on those platforms all the time. But very premium and very high end, to me as a consumer, sounds very, very expensive. And I just don't know if that's the best thing for Xbox to do. I really don't. I really don't. Like, if you're talking over four figures, at that point in time, you need to go back to the drawing board, because you had the Xbox Series S, which is a phenomenal system for what it can do, for the amount of power that it had at the original price point that it was at. It was a great system. But you raised the price of that a bunch of times. You raised the price of the Xbox Series X. You're wanting to do $80 games with games like The Outer Worlds 2. We know that. All of your games this holiday season were supposed to be $80 games. We know that because you told us that. And then he kind of walked it back a little bit. But a super expensive, premium, high-end system, premium and high-end in comparison to what? You know? And you're going to lose console gamers, because console gamers aren't going to want to spend, you know, $1,200+ on the latest video game console for you, when you're putting your games onto other platforms that are substantially cheaper, or they could just buy a PC for that price and then play all the games and then do a bunch of other stuff on it because it's a computer. You're not going to attract the PC gamers because, you know, they're going to see that as something that is expensive, but I could put that money and build, you know, a new PC, or put that towards new PC parts, or buy games with that money because my PC might have better specs than what this system is capable of. It's going to be a very interesting. I can't wait. I cannot wait until this is revealed, because it's either going to be, I think it's either going to really work or it's really going to fail. I don't think there's any sort of in between. I don't think we're going to see an Xbox Series style generation with this next generation console. I think it's either this or nothing. You know, it either takes off and people love it and they adopt the system and they understand the vision, or they don't. And if they don't, it's going to be a very interesting conversation to have. So let me know in the comments section down below, guys. What do you think about this? What do you think about when you hear very premium, very high-end, curated experience? Does that sound like something you'll be able to afford? Or does that sound like something that, hey, you know, it's time to dust off that N64 and play some N64 wrestling games. Buy the book as well. Link in the description box down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm going to try my best the next 2 days to get as many videos out and make sure everything's kind of running as it normally does. But bear with me, there may be some hiccups here and there. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.